In this video, I'd like to present some cool and new ideas for white played by Grandmaster to win quickly in the opening. Let's go right into it. Naroditsky with the white pieces playing d4, and after knight f6, knight c3 the Jobava. But of course, it has another surprise in store. So the game continues. And now, what would be the white idea? Of course, you could take on d6 or play bishop g3 like in the London, but here another idea, knight e5. Very strong because these pawns will be blocked and that knight will be very important for white. So next idea, h4. Of course, you want to play g4 and h5 to capture the bishop on f5. So h6 played and white continues. Very important, you capture with the c pawn so that you open the c file, preventing black from castling long. Now the game continues, and knight e5 was the first idea in the Jobava system, and the second one is queen f3. The queen here is very ready to play in the offense, and you have g4 in this game, g5, opening the h file. Now g5, that's the plan for white. And queen h7, of course, attacking the knight, so black retreats. And here king e2. So you can see that white can play rook h1, but also knight a4. The king is stuck here. The black pieces are not coordinated. So you have a large advantage for white. Let me show you the game real quick. So here to note, black could not take that because you would have a fork here. And here, knight c5 was played, and in the endgame, white has 2 pawns up, and Naroditsky won this game. However, I want to show you something very neat here, because the king is in d6, he could have played queen h2 check, knight c5 check, and here knight b7, and you threaten rook takes c7, defended by the queen on h2, and this is game over. So that was the first game. Let me show you real quick a second Jobava system opening surprise. In this next example, Bortnyk with white, very strong GM, also plays Jobava, and we've seen these moves. Now black decide to play a6. The idea is sometimes white can play knight b5, threatening c7. But here you play knight e5. And because the bishop is on f8, instead of developing bishop g3 like in the game or h4, here Bortnyk goes g4 attacking the bishop directly. Bishop retreats, h4, threatening h5. So black plays h5. Now you take g5. Now if you were to retreat the knight, then clearly bishop g3 would win the pawn on g6. So here, knight e4 was tried by black, but after these moves, bishop g2, attack e4, but you can see all these pawns are damaged. So the game continues, king f7 to protect g6, and now queen f3. Once again, a key move in this variation, queen f3, just like in Naroditsky game, now it's very strong because that's threatening the king. So king moves to g8. And now I could stop here because this is almost winning for white. But I want to show you the tactics here. How does white win on the spot? Check. Now, of course, if the king goes to h7, you do g6. So you have to take. And what is the winning move? You have a discovery, bishop c7, check, and double attack on the queen. So the game continued, but white is up and move 19. 6 moves later, black resigned. Now let me show you a different system with white. In this third game, Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky again, and we have here a Pirc Defense, also called sometimes Modern Defense. Now the regular move order for that would be like and g6. That's typical Pirc defense. But instead here, that was reached just like with the Jobava, and here instead of playing bishop f4 like he did against d5, e4 played, and we reached the Pirc defense. Now we are on move 4, a lot of moves have been played, but what is a way to surprise your opponent? h4. And now in this first game, we're going to see against Super Chess, a non-player with black, ignoring the threat h5 and playing bishop g7. So now h5 was played, take, and of course a sack. The queen comes here, black took on d4, and here knight g5, attacking f7, so this is very serious. Rook f8, bishop c4, and e6. Obviously, white wants to win quickly. Now in this position, Naroditsky played bishop e6, but it was complicated after bishop takes c3 and queen f6 attacking c3. It was a bit of a mess of a game, but he won anyway. But here, after looking with Stockfish 14, instead of taking on e6 here, and of course enjoying the pin, that was a stronger move, e5. So for instance, you know, if you play d e5, now bishop e6 is very strong because you don't have bishop c3 for black. Now, of course, on e5, the best move is to take with the bishop, but knight c4, and you can see you have a lot of attack. So for instance, if you try to play d5, that would probably lose very quickly, because then you would have knight h7, and you have a lot of threats everywhere. So now you can continue with knight c6, which is probably better, but here you have a very strong attack with white, and if black is not prepared, it's going to be very hard to defend with black. So I want to just to show you how dangerous this h4, h5. In the next game, we're going to see really the best response to h4, which very elite player play is to play h5 against that h4. In this final game, I will showcase what a strong grandmaster with black against Naroditsky played. And he played h5 to avoid the plan we saw earlier. So here, Naroditsky plays bishop g5 and queen d2 and knight f3. So you have a very easy way to develop the pieces, and you're already ready to really take the game forward. So bishop g4 played here. Now e5, going straight for the center. Take, take. And after these exchanges, knight d7, and here e6. And that's very strong because if black captures, you do check and you're winning on the spot. So knight e5 played, but now Dania took on f7, and then queen f4 check, and here long castle. So we're on move 15. As you can see, this is weak. You have that. So this is completely winning for white already. So the game continued, bishop e4. So black, of course, want to exchange the queens. But here, there was an easy way to win here. That was knight b5. So in the game, Naroditsky took on d7. That wasn't necessary. So he tried these tactics. But there was rook f8 here that he probably missed. But if you do knight b5 here, you cannot take over here. And white has a winning endgame. The pieces are not coordinated here. And you have the bishop pair for white. So you are essentially technically winning. So I hope you enjoy this video. And I'll see you in the next one.